This is where things get a bit confusing. Bodges, I suppose. That was because I crashed into McDonald's. That happened. This happens on a fairly regular basis. This isn't a Ford Focus. What this is my trailer, and what it is broken. I'll flick the lights on now. You can see I've already made a sort of start on stripping it. The problem I've got is that one side of the lights aren't working. If I put the hazards on, all of the lights start flashing, and some of the lights are really dim. They were working the other week when I started driving the trailer and I was towing a car back from an airfield that we were working on. I've come back here and hooked it up again to unload that car. It's now not working. Something has come loose or something has become disconnected. I need to find out what. So I'll show you what happens with the lights. So with the lights on, that marker isn't working, the front marker isn't working. This tail light is really dim, and this tail light has both of the filaments illuminated, the brake and the tail. So what it seems to be is that it's earthing through one of the lives that isn't switched on. So straight away I'm kind of leaning towards it being an earth fault. Don't know without investigating further, so the quickest way to identify that is going to be to run an earth from one of the spade connectors, which is why I've taken the light lenses off, because I thought initially maybe it's one of these spade connectors that's come loose. Not 100% on that. Pull the light lenses off and I can see that they haven't, because the trailer bounces about quite a bit. This is where things get a bit confusing. So with the hazards on, the hazard on that side is working sometimes. And sometimes it isn't. If I walk my way around to the front, you'll see that this marker is also sometimes flashing. But that one isn't working at all, so not a clue what's going on. Point to note when you're doing anything sort of trying to diagnose electrics and lights. It's really easy to forget that you've had them on for 2 or 3 hours, and you'll very quickly come, oh, my finger's in the way, and you'll very quickly come to have a flat battery when you've done, and you'll be able to start your car. So I like to hook up a battery pack just to support the battery while I'm doing stuff. So, turn the lights off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run, which is what I've got set up here already, an earth from the spade connector on the back of there, bypass everything on the trailer and go back to the earth on the car. That should help me decide or find out whether it's an earth fault or not. So I'll do that now. Okay, so just as I thought, it's an earth fault. Lights are working, I've currently got my hazards on, nothing's flashing crazy. What I've done is I've run a wire from the earth on the connector here, which is the white wires. I've then gone all the way to the back, getting rid of all of this, and I've then hooked it up to one of the spade connectors, which is the earth for all of the lights. I've already checked the junction boxes, checked underneath here, and I've checked this junction box, which is still hanging off, and everything is fine, everything's sound inside those. So it has to be between the connector and the back of the trailer. So I'm going to get underneath, have a bit of a look, see if I can find anything obvious. I've done a find. This clump of excess wires was cable tied up there, and as we can see, it is no longer cable tied up there. What it has been doing with the weight of a car on there is dangling on the floor like that, and it has chafed through. And this white wire here is the earth, and as you can see, it's no longer connected to anything. So either I can join those back up and cable tie this up out the way, but is that a very nice solution? I don't think it is. So we're going to cut all of that shit out and we're going to rejoin it, and hopefully that should then alleviate that ever happening again. This is obviously a wiring loom for a longer trailer, and it's just been tied up out of the way. And that's one of the troubles with buying an older trailer or anything older, is you don't know who's owned it before and you don't know how sort of mechanically minded they were, so you do have to bear that in mind. Right, that's everything back working. I'll show you what I've done in a second. But we've got indicators, we've got number plate light, tail lights and fog light all back on. It was an earth fault, it was what I showed you. Rejoin those wires, but what I've done, so yeah, it was what I showed you, it was those wires. So rejoin them, but what I've done is remove the excess that was there before, and now we've got just a little bit of excess, and we've got the repairs, one there and one further up. Staggered the repairs as best I can with 2 wires. Use these really handy sort of solder connectors. So in the middle you've got some solder, and then you've got 2 red bits of glue, and then the outside is heat shrink, and they melt. The solder joins the wires together, the glue sticks the wires together on the outer casings, and then heat shrink seals it. So they're really good, really handy for good quality quick repairs, and then you put a bit of heat shrink over that again, and it's a pretty good repair. So I've used those to join the wires together, staggered them along the cable, so say one here, one here, one here, because if you put them all in one place it just ends up being quite a big clump. So if you stagger them along the wires, then it's just a slimmer repair and it looks better. And then once you heat shrink over that, you can use heat shrink that actually fits the cable correctly, rather than having heat shrink that doesn't fit very well. Just avoids using tape then as well. So that's done. Also gone along underneath and cable tied. I'm going to snip the ends off in a minute. All the cables a little bit better, because obviously if that one's broken and dangled down, then there's a chance that that could happen to the others. There was only like 1 or 2 cable ties holding them on the whole length, so that wasn't great. Other issues, this bracket for the rear light was bent. That was because I crashed into McDonald's. That happened. I was going through the drive-through, and when you turn quite sharply, the back of the trailer kicks out, and that happened, and the lady in the drive-through went, "Whoa!" as the back of my trailer swung, hit the drive-through, and then I carried on driving. So don't crash into McDonald's, you look like a tit. So that happened. So I've straightened that with a hammer and a bar. A couple of other issues. The number plate light wasn't working, the bulb had blown, so replaced the bulb. This front marker, again, also wasn't working, replaced the bulb. And what I'm about to do now is the bracket for this tail light, this marker light is completely loose. So I'm going to do that. I'm also, if you look at the angle of the trailer, it's sort of sitting quite high on the hitch, and it always has. So one of the things I also want to do is lower the hitch down onto the lower bolt. It's always bothered me having it a bit higher like that, because it's, when there's not a car on there, these wheels are hardly touching the ground. I mean, this one is now, but yeah, you can see that wheel isn't touching the ground. Let the handbrake off. Then that's it hooked up to the car right now, and yeah, that wheel can spin, so not ideal. So what I want to do is lower that hitch down to the lower bolts, which should mean the trailer sits a bit more level. It will increase tyre wear on these front tyres, because they naturally sort of drag and skid when you turn, but I'd rather it sit level and not be bouncing about as much. Also, next month I will be replacing these tyres. This inside edge is as near as damn it on the wear marker now. Not through to the cords, but needs doing. This one's all right, but it's a different brand and a different type for that one. The spare is brand new. I could put the spare on that one, but I'm not going to. I'd rather just get a set of 4 tyres and call it a day. Same sort of thing on this one. Inside edge is wearing, and again on this one. But they're all different brands, and I'd rather them all be the same brand, decent quality, with a good spare. Then I can just forget about it. That should be the trailer, good to go then. All the lights working, all the tyres good. I've already done the brakes, I've done the wheel bearings. So yeah. The trouble with buying an older trailer is you have to maintain it. And as much as I like mechanicking and doing maintenance, it is a pain in the arse, because now my sort of afternoon has been taken up sorting out a wiring issue, which could have been taken up with another car that I'm trying to work on to sell, but hey ho, this is something that's got to take priority, because it's something that I need to use all the time and it's got to work, so I need to maintain it. So thank you for watching. Bit of a different video, sorting out some of the issues in my trailer. This happens on a fairly regular basis, not with the trailer but with my vehicles.